Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for Pinkfresh Studio. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am creating a holiday card and I am mixing both older and newer products along with a really fun color scheme to create this beautiful kind of snowy background, but in some pinks and oranges and corals. I think you're gonna love it, and I'm starting out by inking a background using this Wintry Forest stencil set. Now this was released, I believe, last year, and I have never used it. And I thought it would pair so beautifully with the brand new Snowflakes from this year's holiday release. And this could really be not just a holiday card, but it could be a winter card as well. So I'm starting with my first stencil, and this has a lot of area, and I am inking this up with Ballet Slipper. I'm going really light with this ink. In fact, it's really hard to actually see it on camera right now, but when I remove the stencil, you'll see that the color is there. And I went a little heavier handed around the trees at the top, and you can see that very light background. Now I'm moving on to the next stencil, and I am going to use some peach fuzz ink for this. And I'm just going to, once again, very lightly ink this background. I'm allowing those colors to overlap so that we get a really beautiful transition. So there's a lot of ink that's going to be on this paper, especially towards the bottom, because as these layering stencils kind of layer up, we're going to add more and more color. Now I kind of concentrated towards the upper, third of that stencil, but I did ink all the way down. And now I am going to bring in the third stencil, and this time I'm going to use Coral Reef ink. Now the Ballet Slipper blending into the peach fuzz, blending into Coral Reef creates a really beautiful combination. If you've never tried it before, it's one of my favorites using the Pinkfresh Studio inks. Now, once again, I'm going to go a little heavier handed where the trees are and kind of fade out as I move down. And if you're having a harder time kind of getting a light blend, try to hold your blending brush further down the handle. So right now I have my thumb on the head of the brush and I'm getting a heavier blend. But if I want a lighter blend, I'm going to hold my brush further down on the handle. Now I'm moving on to the fourth stencil. And this time I'm using bubblegum ink. So you can see I'm holding my brush now further down the handle so that I can get a lighter kind of wash of ink. And as I feel confident in the coloring that I'm getting, or if I want it a little deeper, I'm moving my hand up the handle of the brush. Now this bubblegum ink is going to take this color palette from really soft and subdued and give it a nice pop of color, a little bit of contrast. You can see it blends really well with the previous colors that I've used. Now for this last and final stencil, I'm actually going to use a glitter paste to create the snow. You could do like an embossing powder for this instead, but I thought a little bit of shimmer and shine would be a lot of fun. Now when I remove this, you're going to see that I have that glitter. I'm going to go ahead and go wash my stencil and my spatula there right away so that that glitter paste doesn't dry. And now I have this gorgeous background. I'm going to set it aside to dry so that I can cut it down in a little bit. So now I'm going to move on to foiling my snowflakes, and I'm going to foil these on some 40-pound vellum. This is my favorite vellum. I use it all the time. And when I foil on vellum, I do like to add a cardstock shim. So I have my snowflakes on there. I'm using the Glimmer foil in champagne. I've added that on there with the pretty side facing the design of my hot foil plate. Then I've added my vellum, a paper shim, and the plate that comes with my Gemini foil press. I set my timer for about a minute, and then I ran that through my Gemini Junior, and that pressed that foil onto that vellum, and it is so beautiful. Then I used the coordinating dies to die cut those snowflakes. Now I'm going to use the snowflake background rubber cling stamp, and I'm going to heat emboss that on some vellum. So I've taken out the little mouse pad that is in my MISTI, and I've placed my vellum into my MISTI stamping tool, and I have my rubber cling mount stamp mounted to the lid of my MISTI. I've prepped the surface of my vellum using a powder tool, and then I've inked up this snowflake background using some Versamark ink and stamped that onto the vellum. And then I'm going to add some white embossing powder and heat set this. So I'm getting all of my elements prepared so that I can get everything assembled all at once. And I think these delicate, tiny little snowflakes are so gorgeous. And I love that there's a coordinating die for this stamp because now I have all of these heat embossed on vellum and I'll be able to use them as individual little elements. But this is great because you can use them as individual elements like I'm doing today, or you can use it as a background. So now I have taken my background that I created with that Wintry forest stencil set and I've cut that down into a nice little rectangle. And I'm starting to put on my sentiment as well as some of these foiled snowflakes and the heat embossed snowflakes. This Season of Wonder sentiment is from the Thrill of Hope hot foil plate. It is also available in a stamp set. So if you're not a hot foil girl, that's okay. I have you covered. I'm just going to talk you through that here as I kind of glue some of these elements down using liquid glue. So if you haven't jumped on the hot foil bandwagon, I have a couple alternatives for you. In place of the hot foil snowflakes that I added to this, you could use the layered snowflakes die set from Pinkfresh Studio and die cut those from some vellum. And then you could use the Thrill of Hope stamp set and heat emboss that in gold instead of doing the foiling. And then you could do everything else the same and you would have a similar result in the end. You just wouldn't have the foiling. So I'm going to finish this card off with some of the brand new champagne glitter drops. Y'all, if you have not tried these, I'm serious. They are so sparkly. I put them on my card project and I was blown away. They're like little diamonds. They come in a lot of different colors. This champagne might be my favorite. I told Kinnery I need a 5-gallon bucket of these champagne glitter drops. Because I'm going to use them on everything. And I think these are great because they're actually flat enough that you could use them in a shaker window as well. So now I am creating my A2 top folding card base. I have a piece of cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 11 inches. I scored it at 5 1/2 inches and then just reinforced that crease with my bone folder. And then I added my panel onto that card base using some foam adhesive, and that finishes off my card for today. There are so many shiny and shimmery elements on this card. I absolutely love it. From the glitter to the foil to the glitter drops, it is just truly a shiny, sparkly, magical holiday winter card. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any paper crafting and card making video tutorials shared here. And don't forget to turn on those notifications as well. Thanks again for stopping by, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.